Good morning to you. You might want to alter your travel plans if you're heading towards downtown Bozeman anytime after 8:30 this morning. Coming up, how a big law enforcement processional for a fallen Gallatin County deputy might be affecting your morning.
The investigation continues after last night's stabbing here at the Gallatin Valley Mall. I'm Cody Boyer in Bozeman. What the latest details are after this happened.
Good morning to you. 6:31 here on your Friday. I'm Missy O'Malley. Chet Lehman has our weekend look into the weekend weather forecast, and Matt Elwell is off today. And our top story for you now: Gallatin County law enforcement preparing for a big funeral service today for Sheriff Deputy Jake Allmendinger. He died in the line of duty on October 19th, last Saturday. Funeral services begin at 10 a.m. this morning at Journey Church. The funeral procession will start about 8:45 through downtown Bozeman on Main Street, going westward out on Huffine, taking north on Luff Lane, and then ending at the Commons at Baxter and Love Lane. You can expect traffic delays in those areas. More than 250 vehicles are expected to take part in the procession this morning. More than 500 people are expected to attend that funeral for Deputy Allmendinger. And Governor Steve Bullock has ordered all flags in Montana to be flown at half staff today in honor of Gallatin County Sheriff's Deputy Jake Allmendinger. Again, he did die in the line of duty on Saturday while responding to a call of a stranded driver in the Bridger Mountains north of Bozeman. He was pinned under his vehicle after blizzard-like conditions caused their vehicle to slide backwards. Funeral services for Allmendinger will be held today, 10 a.m. in Bozeman. Law enforcement from across the state and some from across the nation will all be in attendance. And Chet, we've been talking about this procession. They're going to be going very slowly. We want people to be paying their respect.
Just be prepared for that. Main Street, Huffine Lane, Love Lane, starting at 8:45. If you have a chance to take a moment and come out and show your respect as well. Law enforcement from around the West, they're saying 250, maybe 300 vehicles from all forms of emergency services out there paying their respects for Jake Allmendinger.
And we just send absolutely our best to his entire family.
Absolutely
his
true.
wife, his parents, those kids.
Couple of weather stories to talk about. It's going to be really sunny today, but we do have some wind to talk about. That I-90 corridor starting or until midnight tonight. We're talking about some gusty winds, 2 hands on the wheel there, 2 hands on the wheel in western Montana. We'll start that at noon, runs until 9. We can blame the Canadians for it, or at least their weather, because they're sending us a Canadian cold front that's going to change dramatically what we're talking about, from 60s down to 20s. Right now, temperatures in the 30s and 40s. Livingston, 38-mile-an-hour wind to go with that 46-degree temperature. What's it look like for our weekend? Winter. And I have the details coming up in 10 minutes.
Thank you for that, Chet. Now 6:33. New for you this morning, the new owners of the largest coal mine in Montana, the Spring Creek mine north of Decker, say they shut down the mine yesterday because of an impasse with state regulators. The disagreement involves sovereign immunity for the Navajo Indian Nation. The tribal company is that new owner. The Navajo Transitional Energy Company, or the NTEC, brought out the previous owners, but Cloud Peak Energy is in bankruptcy proceedings. NTEC took over Cloud Peak earlier this week, but said it had to shut down the company's only Montana mine because it can't reach an agreement with Montana's Department of Environmental Quality. NTEC says that the state is demanding the Navajos' agreement to complete waiver of their sovereign immunity when it comes to state mining laws. But Montana officials say they've offered to have a partial waiver while the language of the final waiver is being negotiated. Jessica Hardbeg of the Department of Equality told MTN News on Thursday that Montana must be able to enforce state mining and reclamation laws, and that negotiations are underway in Helena. Now, this week, towards the end of that project, Cloud Peak Mine produced almost 13 million tons of coal, about 35% of all coal mined in the state of Montana. And we are learning new information about the stabbing that happened Wednesday night near the Gallatin Valley Mall. MTN's Cody Boyer has our latest development.
It was not an isolated, random event.
Bozeman City Police say a man stabbed another man twice during a fight among a group of people near the Petco parking lot.
It sounds like there were a couple other people involved in the initial incident. Detectives are still trying to follow up and find out what exactly their involvement was.
The victim was sent to the hospital, where he is still recovering from what the deputy chief says were considered serious injuries. Veltkamp says the suspect had vanished, with witnesses saying he had ran toward the Gallatin Valley Mall.
Officers and detectives responded to the scene, did considerable checking of the area, including the mall. to make sure that there was no further threat.
City police confirm that the mall was not evacuated. Rather, the employees and patrons inside were told to either stay in place, or if they were to leave on their own will, they could not go back in for their own safety.
We were just trying to encourage people not, once they left, to avoid the area.
As for the suspect, he remains at large. No one else was hurt and no one else was in any danger, according to police. Feldkamp says with the help of a canine unit, the search was methodical and organized, as will be the rest of the investigation.
We do have some leads in this, in regards to this incident. Having the community's involvement to help us solve cases like this always helps.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Now, Cody mentions while the K-9 unit did search the grounds near Petco for key evidence, Feldkamp says police cannot confirm if anything was found. Of course, we'll continue to update you on this story as the investigation continues. And 2 people from Great Falls are now facing burglary charges in connection with thefts from Butte earlier this week at several hotels. Charles Martell and Christina Bennett are accused of stealing several room keys from the Finland Hotel in Uptown on Monday, and the next day they took some items from the Copper King Hotel on Harrison Avenue. Both were arrested on Tuesday afternoon, and police claim that methamphetamine was among those stolen items found in their vehicle.
There's a lot of different things they could be thinking they're going to be doing, either getting free night stay, going into the hotels such as the Finland, opening vacant doors, staying there for the night, maybe stealing TVs, stuff like that out of the room, stuff they can pawn.
Both are being held in jail on a $50,000 bond. And a Bridger man will most likely spend the rest of his life behind bars after raping a young girl and another woman. 56-year-old Jean Devereaux was sentenced this week to 120 years in prison after being convicted of 6 felonies in July. Charges were first filed in January of 2017 against Devereaux for raping a young girl. She told police he began molesting her back in 2005 when she was only 4 years old. A second round of charges were brought against him when another woman came forward saying he raped her as well. He will be eligible for parole in 25 years when he's 81 years old. Devereaux's defense attorney called the sentence overly harsh and said that he plans to appeal it to the Montana Supreme Court. Also new for you this morning, Better Business Bureau is advising people to make sure all the data has been cleared from electronics before you dispose of them, especially printers. Many modern electronics like TVs and smart appliances are capable of storing data, and printers store documents that have been sent to their device. Now, businesses should make sure all that data has been cleared before getting rid of it, because they could contain sensitive data about business, clients, or personal employee information.
So before you resell, before you get rid of your printer, find out how to wipe that hard drive, and either do it, with an override of the system or physically destroy it.
It varies, but some of them do have actual hard drives. So that big printer in the office might be taking jobs on a network. So one of the first things we do is pull the hard drive and shred that.
406 Recycling, an electronics recycling company, says it's always a good idea to make sure those items that do contain personal data are securely and responsibly destroyed. And a new partnership launching in the state of Montana will help make it easier for families to purchase their own home. Wells Fargo and Neighbor Works America says they will be bringing the Neighborhood Lift program to the state. The program is open to Montana families making up the local median income. Now, if they complete a home buyer education course, they get a contract to purchase a home and get approved for financing. They can apply for $10,000 grants to help with their down payment. Now, some groups, including military members and veterans, as well as teachers, law enforcement officers, firefighters, and emergency medical technicians, can get a $12,500 loan. Now, leaders say the down payment is the biggest barrier to many families owning their own home.
Families definitely have a struggle to make that big down payment, that savings. They're able to make the high rent payments and other things in their life. So this fills that gap that they need in order to move on to home ownership and then beginning to build their own wealth for their future.
So when you think about what we're doing, we're giving families a chance to have safe, stable housing that's affordable to them so that they can go on and thrive in whatever endeavor they need to thrive in.
That's a cool program. Leaders say the Neighborhood Lift program will help about 225 new home buyers in the state. Grants will be offered starting as of Monday. Wow. And we got to take a quick break, but coming up, the